This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, go ahead.
Transparent borders with background clip. Setting a transparent border on an element will reveal the element's own background under the border. In an example below, we will set the borders to be transparent using RGBA, but they actually appear solid gray. By setting the background clip property to padding box, the borders will be made transparent. The transparency effect is archived with the background clip padding box. Without it, the background of the box goes beneath the borders, making it non-transparent.
All right, let's hit continue. And go ahead.
Drag and drop from the options below to create a transparent border from the element. Testbed. Border box and padding box.
No, background. Well, I appreciate that you know the answer. But if you guys could not put the answers in the comments, just so that, you know, if their person needs help, I'll call on somebody else or something to figure it out, but at least give them a chance to try and figure it out. I appreciate it. Okay. All right, sorry, keep going. No, we can hit back if you need to.
Clip and padding box.
Yeah, good. All right. Jacob M., your hand's up. What's up?
Yeah, I was just kind of curious. Doesn't this basically give the same effect as shadowing?
No. Kind of, but shadows are more shadows. Here, I'll show you. Hold on one sec. Actually happen to have a shadow up on my screen on something I was working on, so.
Sorry, it looked real similar. That's why I was asking.
No worries.
Ooh, that's cool.
Okay, so like these right here are shadows, you know, on the, and it's just, you know, dark.
Yeah, you have them rounded and lighter.
Yeah.
But if you got rid of the rounded edges, eliminated that part, wouldn't it essentially have the same effect?
Kind of, but it's more just a translucent type effect, or, you know, transparent, like it's saying, just like see-through, as opposed to just like the shadows are more just supposed to kind of give it like more of a 3D thing, as opposed to, you know, like here, we'll actually go ahead and do it. Well, hold on, let me look ahead real quick to see. I was thinking there's probably going to be more they talk about, so let me check so that we don't waste our time doing it twice. Yeah, okay, so yeah, we're going to cover opacity. I can never say that. Once we get to the quiz, we'll go ahead and do a demonstration, and then you'll be able to see what it's like with the translucent. But I mean, they kind of did it just like they showed you on in the example box of how you just see through it, so like you can see the text and stuff. It's yes, you're kind of right. It's kind of similar to shadows, but it's different. Okay, can you do screen share again? Okay, Patricia, can you read this one?
Yes, multiple backgrounds. The ability to have multiple background images is a new feature in CSS 3. Multiple background images are specified using a comma-separated list of values for the background image property. The first image will appear on the top, the last on the bottom. In the example below, we have two background images. The first is a CSS logo aligned to the bottom and right. The second is a coding image aligned to the top left corner. Run the code and see how it works. Okay. Multiple backgrounds. The last image in the background image list will appear at the top.
No.
Oh, wait. No, wait. The left bottom, right?
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Roger, can you read this next one?
Okay, multiple backgrounds. The position of the background images can be changed using the background position property. Multiple backgrounds can be specified using the background shorthand property. Run the code and see how it works.
So let's actually, let's go back. Let's actually go ahead. We've got this try it yourself feature. We might as well click it. So you're all it's going to do is you're going to see the, yeah, click run. And then try and scroll to the, scroll over a little bit. No. Let's see, does it let you? Yeah, there you go. See how it's got it's got the photos overlapped. And now let's go ahead and look at the code and just see how they did that. They're just referencing the two different image locations. Now they put the full URL, but like I said, usually we put the URI, which is the URI is like the slash whatever that in your folder. So like static and then slash, whatever it is. And yeah, and then set the background position for the first one, set the background position for the second one, and background repeat, no repeat. So any questions on that? And we'll go ahead and do this too. And we've kind of messed around with background images already. But okay, let's close that up. And hit continue. All right, and what's the answer here?
Fill in the blanks to add two background images to the element with the first position at the top left corner and the other at the top right corner. So the first one, background image, URL.
Yeah, perfect. No, what do you need to do to separate the second image?
The forward or comma.
Yep, perfect.
Left corner.
No,
Left.
it's all positioning. I'll tell you that.
The first position at the top left corner. So if it's up, do we use that negative or?
Well, I'll give you a hint.
Is it, I'm
Simpler
thinking
than you thought.
pixels.
You literally just said the answer without realizing it.
Negative.
No, when you were reading
No.
it. That's okay. No worries. Does
Top.
anybody else want to? Yeah, perfect. And then what's the
And right.
good? All right. Let's hit continue and continue. And Brian A, can you read this one?
The opacity property. The CSS opacity property provides an excellent means of finding opacity to any element. In the example below, we set different levels of opacity to the same picture, so you can clearly see the difference. The opacity property values must be numbered between 0.0 fully transparent and 1.0 fully opaque.
Basically how dark it is and translucent. And I think it's, how we say it wrong? Opacity.
Opacity.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Opacity.
What's the answer here? Set it to 30%.
0.3.
Perfect. All right. Lewis, can you read this next one?
Yes, sir. Opacity in Internet Explorer. To have the opacity property work in all versions of IE, use a filter :alpha opacity equals X. Along with the opacity property, X can take a value from 0 to 100. The value 0 results in a completely transparent element, i.e. 100% transparent. Whereas the values 100 makes the element completely opaque, i.e. 0% transparent. For example, in order to have the code work properly with IE, when the opacity of the image is set to 0.5, it should look like this.
And I'm not 100% sure if Microsoft Edge still requires you to do this. But if you want to do this, try it out, see if it works on Edge. And if it does, Internet Explorer's depreciated now. Anyway, some people still use it. But yeah. If just if Microsoft Edge does it, then I wouldn't really worry about it. Let's hit continue.
The alpha filter is a Microsoft only property, not a standard CSS property. Opacity in Internet Explorer. Fill in the blank to add support for IE8. And that's filter, right?
Yep, good.
They were trying to trick me.
Sometimes they do. It is quite annoying. Will from Perrysburg. Oh wait, what happened? I think we skipped. Oh no, we're on the quiz. Yeah, so Will from Perrysburg. Can you answer this one?
Sure. Says add a circle radial granite to the produce a red and blue with color stop according to 15 pixels and 25 pixels. So it'd be background. Okay. Radial.
Yep,
granite.
good. Yeah, radial gradient, good.
And then it would be straightforward. It'd be 15 pixel and 25 pixels, right?
No, this is kind of a tricky one. So it's wanting you to do background stop. So well, first I'll let anybody, see if anybody can remember how to do this. If not, that's totally fine because this is a tough one.
Oh.
Does anybody have an idea what you would put here for this first one?
because I wanted to match
Yes,
it.
What?
it's 50 because it has to match the first one.
Perfect. Yeah, that's how you
Match it.
do the background stops, and then
15.
yeah, and then the 15. So I'm not gonna count that one against you because that was a hard one, and you got the top one, so you're good to go. Well, all right. So check and continue. And Michael East, can you do this one?
In the background clip property, which value allows for the creation of transparent borders? That would be the padding box.
Yep, perfect. All right, and Sandra, can you do this one?
You're always giving me the hard ones.
Sorry, you just pop up in the order of.
I know, just
Three.
messing with you. Okay, drag and drop from the option below to make the background image of the element 100 to 100 pixel in size. I also set the opacity of the element to 50%. Okay. Great. So in the middle one, I'm not going to go to the background image right now. Background dash opacity.
No.
Liver. Okay.
Well, look at what it's doing, and then for on the background one, look what it's doing with the 100 pixels and the 100 pixels, and then reread the.
Oh, is it
question.
size?
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
For that one.
Yeah. Okay, and then background image, test image, background image.
So I'll give you a hint. It's normally it would say /static /test.jpg right there. But they're just assuming it's in the same folder as everything else. So not having to add that /static. So it's kind of a hint for where you're referencing it or how you're referencing it. And you
Link.
can just look at no.
I don't know. Help.
Well, hold on. I mean, look at the available answers. and
Right.
Think about what you would do to reference where an image's web location is.
What would be the URL?
Good. Okay, and then what about the last two?
Background size 100, and then and not this one. Okay. And then also set the opacity to element 50. So opacity.
Good.
And then 0.5.
Perfect. All right. Let's continue. And Samantha D, can you do this one?
Drag and drop from the options below to apply 50% opacity to the div and make it also work in IE. Opacity 0.5, filter alpha, and then 50.
Good. All right. So now let's actually go ahead and do that. So let's go open up Visual Studio, and everybody please follow along. And let's see, do we have, can you pull up your browser so I can see what your browser is looking like?
So I messed with it last night and I kind of screwed some things up.
Oh, well, we'll get it fixed.
All right.
Okay. So it's probably your positioning.
Yeah.
that's screwing it up. So let's go look at your Visual Studio again. And scroll down a little. And keep going. Keep going. Wait, hold on, scroll back up. Did you do it twice? Scroll up to the top of the HTML. Yeah, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like
Oh,
twice.
good.
So let's start by just deleting everything from line 71 up to the start of your head. Or sorry, not to start of your head, but to and also, okay, this is weird too. Never mind. We're gonna need to move your body stuff down because you're yes. Oh, so start by deleting that. Oh, what happened? Did it delete?
No, I
Yeah.
didn't delete it.
Oh, you didn't? Well,
No.
let's delete it. The lines, so line 21 to what was it, 71?
Yeah.
Oh, no, leave that style tag. You're gonna need that. Okay, yeah, delete that. Okay, and then let's go up and cut lines 17 through 19 and scroll down. Okay, you got your closing head. Oh, you've already got a body, so we don't need to add that paragraph back in. Okay, so now it should be better. But hold on, let me scroll up and look at what you've got there so far. Okay, scroll down slowly. And keep going. Keep going. Okay. Let's change div 5 to absolute, position absolute from static. Yeah. I think you misspelled it. I think it's SOLT, I think. Wait, no, there's a U in there too. Hold on. I'm a bad speller too, so.
No, I am also.
Yeah. ABSL, or sorry, ABSOLUTE. ABSOLUTE. Okay. And let's go ahead and save that. And then go ahead and look at your browser and refresh it. Okay. And then scroll down. Okay, cool. All right. So let's go back up. Okay. Anyway, so now let's go and add a border. So let's change div 1 to position relative. And then go ahead and add in there. Let's see. Wait, what are you using? Are you using
Safari?
Safari? Okay, so I think that's WebKit. Okay, so do dash WebKit. Oh, sorry. On it, go to new line and do dash, and this is where you guys should be following along. So dash WebKit. Oh, you did a slash.
Shoot.
And let's actually get it even with the other stuff too, just for readability. Okay. And then dash background dash clip. And then a colon and padding box. Padding dash box, my bad. And then a semicolon. And let's add some padding in there. So let's do padding 30 pixels.
So padding 30 or just 30 pixels?
Okay, well, so just do padding on a new line. And then colon, and then 30 pixels, you need to do 4 30 pixels. So we get each side. Yeah, and then let's go ahead and make this bigger since we're adding all this padding. So let's change your height to 500 pixels. You've already got height, so let's just change it.
Oh,
And your width too, 500. Okay, and then let's go ahead and do we have a border? Yeah, you got border solid. All right, that's good. Did we do background clip yet? Well, we did the web crew. Okay, let's just do regular background clip and do padding box, not the WebKit one.
should I do it right here? Just drop a new line.
Yeah.
What do you want to get in padding?
So do background dash clip. And then colon, and then padding box. Okay. So let's save that and go ahead and look at that. Why is yours like refresh all weird?
I think it's because of the background.
Oh, okay. Well, that didn't work. We can't even see your, we're not seeing your div 1 at all. So we need to do something. Let's go back to your
Div 1 needs a hashtag before it.
Oh, it does. I saw
Oh,
that.
good catch. Thanks. Okay, save that and then go ahead and refresh that.
It's still not doing it.
Let's look at your div 1. Let's scroll down and look at the actual. Oh, wait, hold on. Scroll up for a sec. You got some weirdness. You got. Let's get rid of that my div, or because that's in your
This one?
style. That's not gonna do anything. Yeah. No. Just line 23. Okay, and then scroll down to your div 1 so we can see that.
Above the div 1, there's a div 1 last child.
Yes.
That shouldn't be affecting it though.
Will that push it to the background?
No.
Okay.
That's just what's it called? One of the pseudo classes. It should just change like one of the lines of text to red. Okay, let's scroll down. Oh, okay, get rid of that line 75 too. Because that's in, yeah, there you go. Okay. Let's see what's all in div 1. Okay, it closes there. And we've got, okay, it looks all right. Go ahead and save this and then try running it again. There we go. Better at least. So it's not doing our, did we add padding? Yeah, we added padding. Oh, but probably because our background color is red. Okay, let's go ahead and get rid of our background color. Okay, and then go ahead and run that. Well, now the whole thing's clear. And not just the padding. That's weird. Okay, let's go back to your Visual Studio and go ahead and add, actually change it to background color white. Background / color. And then white, and then semicolon, and then delete border style solid. Okay, and then just do regular border.
Will that style tag supersede the CSS file that it's linked to?
Yeah, because it's embedded, so it
Okay.
should take precedence. But hold on, let's go look at your My CSS. Maybe you got something weird going on there. Scroll down. Keep going. No. Okay, scroll up. Okay, well, let's go back to your main.py. And do we have any, let's scroll down, see if we put any IDs in your div 1, because that could be screwing things up. Oh,
Right here.
well, yeah, ID div 1's fine. But I was just seeing, or I meant to see if we put any classes or anything. Okay, so go back up to the top. Or to, yeah, to there. Okay, so now put your colon for your border. And then do 20 pixels. And then space solid space RGBA. RGBA, yeah. And then the parentheses. And then 0, 0, 0, 0.3. And then click outside the parentheses and add your semicolon. And that should do it. Okay. Now let's go and hit refresh. And there you go. Now we've got the translucent border. We had to specify the opacity in the border. But anyway, okay. So I know there was a lot going on there, and we had to bounce around, so I don't imagine you guys were all able to follow along. Let's go ahead and look at the code again, so you guys can see that, so you can follow along.
I think the only thing that I didn't catch on was the background clip. Why did that need to be added?
So you could put padding box so that you could specify it. So like, let's go back to Sololearn real quick. Well, hold on. Let's give everybody a second to try and copy this, and then I'll go ahead and show you why we had to add the background. Oh, are you talking about the second one? So the first one, the WebKit background clip, was just because he's using Safari, and it was just to make sure that that worked. And then we put the second one is kind of redundant. We didn't really need it, but if basically for other browsers and stuff, like if they've updated and you don't, and they've added background clip into their the stuff they recognize, so you don't have to do WebKit and stuff, that it would work. But yeah, it's kind of redundant. Was that why you're asking about the background clip, or were you asking why does background clip need to be added to make a translucent border?
Yeah, because I saw previously that padding box, and then you added the background clip at the bottom. I was like, oh wait, is that something different, or what you're saying is redundancy?
Yeah, it's so that it works on multiple browsers. I put the WebKit one just to make sure it for sure worked on his browser, and then the other one just to it's like you were programming. That's how you'd put it. You just put the regular one, and then hopefully it works on all the other browsers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I saw that redundancy on the gradients, that how they put it 3 times.
Yeah.
So is that similar to what you're doing right here with the padding box?
Yes, but a lot of things have been updated. Like the CSS3 has been out for a while, and so most browsers have caught up. And like if people have up-to-date browsers, they're like, if you just put or what's it called, background clip, it's not going to need that WebKit stuff. It's mostly just for people who never update their browsers, and are using like an old one that it still needs it. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Has everybody able to, copy this and simulate it on your Visual Studios? Is anybody having trouble and need help? And if you're having trouble and need help, just raise your hand. Oh, okay, David, I see your hands up. Give me 1 sec. Can you do screen share? Pull up your Visual Studio. Okay. Well, where's the rest of? Okay, your stuff's like kind of way out of order. Your body and your closing HTML, you've got like right. Okay, well, I guess you could leave that there and just move. So move your. So cut line 32 through 44. Don't delete it, but cut it so we can repaste it. And then put that in your in between your style tags. So click to the end of line 16 and hit enter. Okay, and you don't have a div 1, so let's go ahead and add div 1. So click in your click to the end of line 35 and hit enter. and then create a div with the ID div1, opening and closing. And then the closing div1. Oh, and you put div1. So you just have it be div, but then change the 1 to ID equals, and then 1 inside the quotes. No, leave that closing thing on your closing tag. That's fine. But see in your opening tag, you put div1. No. Delete the 1 on the closing one. So go to where the 1 is and delete the 1 on line 36. Okay, now add a space and do ID equals, and then in quotes, then put quotes, and then type div1. So that's how we create a div and then reference it by ID. So in our style sheet there, we have that hashtag div1. Well, that's how it's referencing that ID div1. But to create a div tag, you just create a tag that says div, and then you can either reference it by the class. So like just like where we did ID equals div1, you could do class and then give it a class name, and you can use classes multiple times. But IDs are unique. Like you're only going to have one ID for on a page. Like you can't have multiple. You can't copy this div1 and paste it on a new line and have it work. But it just doesn't work that way. But anyway, but if you have a class, like if you want to generally style all your divs a certain way or whatnot, you would use class. So anyway, so that's how we reference the divs. Does that make sense, David? What was that? I couldn't hear you. You're muted. Hello? Hello? David, you there?
Unmute. I got muted. Do I need to put the ID the ID equals div1 in the closing tag as well?
No, you don't put it in the closing tag. You just put it in the opening tag.
Okay.
So now let's go ahead and add some text inside that div. So click between the opening and closing div and just type whatever you want. Okay. And save that, and then let me look at your stuff. Looks good. Okay, now go ahead and go to your Visual Studio or your browser and hit refresh. Okay, let's go back to your Visual Studio. And let's see what's going on. Well, your background color is red, so let's change that to white. And then delete your border style on line 20. So yeah, just delete line 20. And let's go ahead and create a border. So just do border. And then colon. And then space. And do 20 pixels. And then space. And then solid. And then, yeah, and then do RGBA. And then the parentheses. And 0, comma 0, comma 0, comma 0.3. And then add your semicolon at the end of that. Oh, sorry, at the end of after the parentheses. Okay, and save that, and then go ahead and run it.
Okay.
And there you go. Okay.
Awesome.
All right, so let me stop your screen share. Was anybody else having issues? Was everybody else able to follow along? Okay. So, my screen share person, Mark, can you, yep, there you go, thanks. All right, and let's get back to Sololearn. And Jacob M, can you read this one?
CSS3 transitions. CSS3 transitions allows us to change from one property value to another over a given duration. Transition property specifies the property to be transition. Transition duration specifies the duration over which transition should occur. Transition timing function specifies how the pace of the transition changes over its duration. Transition delay specifies the delay in seconds for the transition effect. In example below, we set the transition property to transform with a duration of 5 seconds and with an ease in timing function that specifies a transition effect with a slow start. Transition effect can be applied to a wide variety of CSS properties, including background color, width, height, opacity, and more.
Okay.
Which of the following is not supported parameter of the transition property? Functions, right?
No, that's one of them. Let's click back so we can look.
Right.
Yep, good. Okay. All right. Sandra, can you read this one?
The transition property. In the example below, the div element has width and height of 50 pixel with a green background. We specify the transition effect for the width property with a duration of 3 seconds. If you hover over the div element, it will move from the left to right. When the cursor is moused out of the element, it will gradually change back to its original style.
Okay, so let's go ahead and hit the try it yourself. And hit run. And hit run. It really didn't run? Okay. Oh, there you go. Oh yeah, it said you had to hover over it. Oh yeah, it put div hover. Okay. Go ahead and close that out. Okay. Hit continue.
Add a transition property that changes the background color in 5 seconds. First one would be transition.
Good.
And background color
Good.
with 5 seconds.
Good. All right. Bill C, can you read this one?
Transition timing function. The transition timing function properly specifies the speed curve of the transition effect. It can have the following values: ease, the animation starts slowly, then accelerates quickly. Ease in, starts slowly, then accelerates and stops abruptly. Ease out, starts quickly, but this decelerates to a stop. Ease in out, similar to ease, but with more subtle acceleration and deceleration. Linear, constant speed throughout the animation, often best for color or opacity changes. Finally, we have cubic Bezier, which allows you to define your own values in the cubic Bezier function. Possible values are numeric values from 0 to 1. If no timing function is specified, the default value is ease.
Okay.
Which of the following timing functions defines custom transitions? Cubic.
Yeah, the cubic Bezier. Good. All right. Kevin B, can you read this next one?
CSS3 transforms allow you to translate, rotate, scale, and skew elements. A transformation is an effect that lets an element change shape, size, and position. CSS3 supports 2D and 3D transformations. Let's take a look at the rotate transformation. The div element before the transform will look like this. Now let's apply the div element to rotate by 10 degrees, and here is the result. The rotate method rotates an element clockwise or counterclockwise according to a given degree. Negative value will result in a counterclockwise rotation.
All right, so let's click the try it yourself. And click run. And there you go. Just starts out that way because you already rotated it. All right, hit close and hit continue.
What value does the rotate function take? Angle.
Good. Fabian, can you read this one? And if you have a camera, can you turn your camera on?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Using native values. As previously mentioned, using a positive value will rotate an element clockwise, and using a negative value will rotate the element counterclockwise. That's how it looks like. Run the code and see how it works.
Let's just hit continue.
Using native values. Add the transformation property to rotate the element 45 degrees counterclockwise. Transformation, rotate.
Good.
And then minus.
Good. All right, continue. Ayani, can you read this one?
The transform origin
property allows you to change the position of transformed elements. The default value for the property is 50%, 50%, which corresponds to the center of the element. In the example below, we use the transform origin property together with transform rotate. The origin of the x-axis horizontal is set to 25% from the left. The origin for the y-axis vertical is set to 75% from above. Zero, zero is the same value as top left, and 100% is the same value as bottom right. The transform origin property must be used together with the transform property.
Okay, let's hit continue. And go ahead.
Which choice is the default value for the transform origin property in its center?
Perfect. Okay, and back to the top. David, can you read this one? David S.
The translate method. The translate method moves an element from its current position according to the parameters given for the x-axis and the y-axis. Positive values will push an element down and to the right of its default position, while negative values will pull an element up into the left of its default position. In the example below, the div element is moved 100 pixels to the right and 50 pixels down. An element can be moved by setting the margins or by positioning the element, although translate is a better choice for animating elements. Add and translate function that moves the element 50 pixels from the left and 100 pixels from the top. All right. So transform. So translate.
Good.
Um, 50 from the left. It'll be 50,
Good.
100.
Perfect. Okay. Patricia, can you read this one?
Yeah. The skew method. The skew method skews an element along the x-axis and the y-axis by the given angles. The following examples skews the div element by 30 degrees along the x-axis. If the second parameter is not specified, it has a 0 value. The skew method, which value type is used in the skew function? That would be degrees.
Perfect. Brian A., can you read this one?
Let me see, make sure I'm on the right page here. It doesn't look like what popped up here.
It's lesson 67.
Oh, it went too far. Okay. The scale method. The scale method increases or decreases the size of an element according to the parameters given with the width and height. 1 stands for the original size, 2 stands for twice the original size, and so on. In the example below, we decreased the first div by the first factor of 0.7, both horizontally and vertically, and increased the second div by a factor of 1.5 horizontally and vertically. If only one parameter is passed into the scale method, it will apply that the factor for both the height and the width.
Okay, let's hit continue.
Fill in the blank and reduce the element at 20% of its original size. So it'd be scale.
Good. All right. Will from Perrysburg. Can you read the next one?
Multiple transforms can be used at once, rotating the scaling the size of an element at the same time as is an example of that. Applies multiple transforms to an element is simple, just separate them using space. There's an example with 2 transforms defined. If you use a comma to separate the functions, none of the functions will be applied. So keep in mind, do not use commas.
Okay.
When adding multiple transformations in a single transform property, separate them with space.
All right. Let's continue. So just so you guys know, this transform and everything is good to know. You know, it's something that you need to know. Not really something I use that often. So don't feel like you need to include it in your resume website, like just adding weird off degreed things and stuff. People like straightforward usually. Looks more professional, not like diagonal and all this craziness they're doing. Lewis, can you read this one?
CSS 3 animations. An animation lets an element gradually change from one style to another. You can change as many CSS properties as you want to, as many times as you want to. Keyframes hold the styles the element will have at certain times. The @keyframes rule. When you specify CSS style inside the @keyframes rule, the animation will gradually change from the current style to the new style at certain times. To get an animation to work, you must bind the animation to an element. The following example will change the background color of an element 3 times. When the animation is 50% complete, 70% complete, and when the animation is 100% complete.
Okay.
Example is the name of the animation. You can choose any name for your animation.
All right. Let's hit continue.
Can you have multiple keyframes in an animation property? Yes.
All right. Good. And Roger C, can you read this one?
The keyframes rule. As an alternative to using percentages, you can use from and to keywords where from is starting offset of 0%, to is an ending offset of 100%. The 2 examples are equivalent and produce the same result. Color change is the animation name.
Okay.
Which alternative word can be used in place of 0% from?
Good. And Michael East, can you read this one?
Sure. To get an animation to work,
You're kind of cutting out. Is he cutting out to everybody else too?
Yeah, he's on the road. I don't
Yeah.
think he's
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was me.
I'm gonna just skip you for now, Michael. No worries. Sandra, can you read this one?
I just lost it.
Of course, the keyframe rule. To get an animation to work, you must bind the animation to an element. In the example below, the animation lasts 1 second and changes to background color of the red div to green and blue. The animation name property specifies the animation to be used for the element. The animation duration property specifies the duration of the selected animation. If the animation duration property is not specified, the animation will have no effect because the default value is 0.
All right. Let's scroll up and click try it yourself. And
What does it mean by binding it to an element? Bind the animation to an element, huh?
So, all right. Look here how we did, keyframes, color change, and then we went and used it in the div. We put animation name, color change. So that's what it's saying. It's saying like taking that thing that you created, because you're just naming it color change, like it's whatever. It's whatever. It's a variable
animation name. Okay.
Which means like name it whatever you want, and then in the div we used animation name, color change, and then all the other stuff, animation duration, blah blah blah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But go ahead and click run, and there you go. And so animations can be cool. Usually you do it like slower, and you're not going to do it such like wild colors like red and stuff. Like you can have it kind of like fade between one similar color to another, and it just gives like this kind of like trippy effect. I'm not describing this very well, but anyway, animations are something you can use, not usually too much, and it really depends on the type of website you're building. Like if you're going for like a company that's like trying to be cool and edgy or whatever, it'd be something that you could consider using. Yeah, but anyway, let's click the X and get back to and click continue.
Fill in the blanks to define an animation name admin containing keyframes. Add keyframes?
Yep, good. Oh, you got to put the app too. Okay. And Bill C, can you read this one?
The animation name property. Animation name property defines which animation to use. In this example, the name of the animation is set to color change, which matches the defined keyframes. The animation duration property specifies the duration of the selected animation in seconds. If the animation name does not match any keyframe rule, the animation will not execute.
All right, let's click the try it yourself and click run. You can see what they're talking about there. Let's go ahead and close that. And click continue.
Fill in the blanks to make the animation complete in 5 seconds. Would it be WebKit at Frameworks?
No. Let's click back and look again.
Color change.
So you're setting the duration to 5 seconds. How did they do that? Do you see?
Animation duration.
Good. Let's hit continue. And yeah, it was animation / duration. You just reset it, so.
Can these animations be used for the background color? Or does it have to be a div?
Yeah, you can't. I don't know. I've never tried like for the body background color.
Body background color.
I've never tried it, but
like it fades in.
Yeah, you should be able to. And that's what I was talking about with the like a similar color. Like you kind of switch it up with your animation and your translating in and stuff. I think you can do it with the body, the whole body too.
And you can do it for multiple divs, right? So the background color will fade in at one color and then at a certain speed, and then the other divs, whatever you set the animation to, will also fade in.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah. Who's that? Samantha D, can you read this one?
Animation properties. The animation timing function specifies the speed curve of an animation. It can have the following values. Ease specifies an animation with a slow start, then fast, then end slowly. This is the default. Linear specifies an animation with the same speed from start to end. Ease ins specifies an animation with a slow start. Ease out specifies an animation with a slow end. Ease in out specifies an animation with a slow start and end. Cubic Bezier lets you define the own values in a cubic Bezier function. Animation delay defines the delay before an animation starts. The CSS syntax looks like this.
Okay, let's click the second try it yourself and run. Did its little 2-second delay. So, all right, let's close that.
Fill in the blank to specify 2-second delay before the animation begins. 2 second.
Yeah, good. And Patricia, can you read this one?
Yeah, more animation properties. The animation iteration count property determines the number of times an animation repeats. For example, you can set the animation to run 5 times. To make the animation repeat forever, just use the infinite value. The animation direction indicates how the keyframe should be applied. The values can be set as normal, the default value, which means it plays forward from 0% to 100%. Reverse plays the keyframe in an opposite direction from 100% to 0%. Alternate, the animation first runs forward, then backward, then forward. Alternate reverse, the animation first runs backward, then forward, then backward. If you use 0 or a negative number for the animation iteration count, the animation will never start. For animation properties, which property value is used to have the animation repeat forever? That would be infinite.
Yep, good. Okay, and Brian A, can you read this one?
Animation property.
Yeah.
Consider the following example. A single animation property can be used to achieve the same result as the above code. The order in which each property is declared in the shorthand duration is important and cannot be altered, or the animation will not work properly.
Okay.
Maybe name.
Yep, good.
Duration.
Good.
Delay.
Good.
Reverse.
No.
Oh.
They want it to go forever.
Oh, infinite.
Good. All right. And let's do 3D transform so we can just finish this out, and just tomorrow we'll just have CSS filter and then we'll be done. Will from Perrysburg, can you read this one?
Sure can.
Thank you.
Along with the X and Y axis, 3D transformations introduce the Z axis, which enables the 3D I can't even say that. Manipulation. The 3D transformations are quite similar to the 2D transformations. Rotate Y and rotate Z. Rotate an element in 3D space around the corresponding axis and give the degrees. You can switch off all transformations applied to an element using the none functions transform none. A rotating function that rotates on a 45-degree angle around the Z-axis transforms Z.
Good. Rotate Z. Yep. Lewis, can you read this one?
Is translations. 3D translate methods allow you to move the element horizontally, translate X, vertically, translate Y, and into or out of the screen, translate Z, using any CSS length units, px, em, percentage, etc. Positive values move the element towards the viewer, negative values away.
All right, let's hit
The translate 3D method allows us to pass the X, Y, and Z offsets all at once and in the following order. Like the translate 3D method, there are also scale 3D and rotate 3D, which are applicable for scaling and rotating elements in 3D. Translation of an element is similar to relative positioning. It doesn't affect the document's flow. The translated element will keep its position in the flow and will only appear to have moved.
All right, let's hit continue.
Fill the missing value to push the elements 100 pixels back. Transform translate Z. So it'd be negative 100.
Perfect. All right, David S., can you read this one?
Perspective. Perspective defines how the depth of a 3D scene is rendered. Think of perspective as the distance from the viewer to the object. The greater the value, the further the distance, so the less intense the visual effect. When defining the perspective property of an element, it is the child element that get the perspective view, not the element itself. The perspective property only affects 3D transition elements. Higher perspective value means the further the distance.
Perfect. And Roger Chang.
Which of these is a valid CSS3 transformation statement? Isn't it scale?
Yep, good. And Patricia.
Okay. How will an element with a statement transform? Translate 0, 100 pixels behave. That is a very good question. Push down 100? I don't know.
Yeah, well, that was a
think
great
that's-
guess. Good. All right. What's up? Bill C, can you do this one?
Which transformation does not exist in CSS3? Is it skew B?
Correct. That does not exist. And Kevin B.
Fill in the blanks to rotate the object with the ID ball 45 degrees counterclockwise. Hashtag ball.
Good.
Transform.
Good.
Rotate.
Good.
And 45.
Good. All right. Fabian. Put be right back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay. Fill in the blank to make the first letter of the paragraph red and bold. Also flip the paragraph upside down. Wow, this one is interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard one.
Is it rotate? No.
For the first one, no. The first one's one of the things we just learned recently, or fairly recently.
Yeah, I probably missed it.
Oh, okay. Does anybody think they know the answer to this one?
To transform.
Yeah,
Transform.
good. Perfect. Yeah, transform.
Okay.
And then what about for the next one? Does anybody know?
It's gonna be first dash letter.
Perfect.
First dash letter.
Awesome. You guys are on it.
And then color.
Yep, good.
And then style.
No. Anybody have a guess for the last one?
Font
Font
weight.
weight.
Perfect.
Weight, yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
font dash weight, but yeah. Good job, guys. All right. So that is a great place to end for the day. And switch to working on your guys's what's it called? Resume websites. And so hold on, let me end the recording. Or first, before I end the recording, does anybody have any questions on anything we've done so far today? Nope. Okay. All right. Let me